Greetings, 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 soul fam. How are y'all doing this evening? Uh, I'm gonna be coming to y'all on a more somber note tonight. It's just like it's so much going on, right? And sometimes you just get knocked. You get knocked off your square, but you have to maintain some kind of semblance. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm just coming real abstract tonight. Um, because there's so much. Let's just get into prayer. We say Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malhuto Leolam Vayed. That is Hero Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom forever and ever. Amen. So tonight, y'all, just coming to y'all on a level of after coming through this second hurricane that came through um, Daytona Beach, where you guys know, well, if I didn't mention it, or you may have heard on the channel or through the chats, is where I was living right before I went and moved to the islands, and they really got battered in this Hurricane Nicole. Now, I just I'm gonna just tell y'all my truth tonight, and y'all could walk away and think what you think, but it just is what it is. Okay. The first thing is my heart really grieves to see that area that has come to mean so much to me be so battered and broken. But I want to tell y'all about a prophecy that's 2 years in the making. 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me for some beach time. It was after my surgery. It was after COVID. It was the first time going to the beach after my surgery. I had a major, major surgical event. Almost died multiple times. And something happened to where, like, the first thing that happened, the beach trip got canceled because one of the people that was coming, their mom died. So they was like, "We not going to the beach no more." And then I was like, "Bet." But then they came back and was like, "You know what? That was their mom's spot. So we need to go, like, to honor their mom." So I was like, "All right." But usually I'll just be like, "Man, forget that." Whoop, whoop. They said we wasn't going. Happy to her to her mom, but I'm ready to go. They said we wasn't going, so we not going no more. But after coming through the the Great Awakening and coming through everything and knowing that you don't live for yourself like that no more. You live for others. And after being so grateful and knowing that I had a higher purpose, I had a different attitude. And I was like, I turned to my daughter, who was always by my side at this time and is my witness to what I'm going to tell y'all tonight. I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be the soul maiden, if I'm going to take this on, then that means we need to go. And so we went. So we got to Daytona, and when we got to the beach, we were still in the parking lot, and my friend, she came to meet us at the parking lot, and then we made a joke about her finding her husband that day. And by the way, that was my husband that just tried to call, that just interrupted the stream. Okay, y'all just peep the frequency. So my friend made a joke that day about her finding a husband. I said, you never know, you might find your husband. Now, my truck ran out of gas 3 times trying to get to the beach this day, y'all. Okay. A couple of people already know this part of the story. Truck ran out of gas 3 times. It was something wrong with the meter. Okay. But I realized that it was something trying to keep me from getting to the beach. Okay. Because I was like, I don't even really go to Daytona because that was just a party beach. I hadn't been to Daytona since I was 18. I took my kids to Clearwater and all on that side. Okay. So, or Miami or Fort Lauderdale. So I was like, I'm thinking like I'm making such a huge sacrifice just to go to Daytona, like, cause, you know, but I realized that something didn't want me to get there. And so I pushed to get there. So made the joke about to her, like, oh, you might find your husband at the beach today or whatever, whatever. We get to the beach, whoop, whoop, whoop. Long story short, it was a beautiful day because the world was shut down in quarantine and we was just opening up. And so Daytona Beach, which is normally the party beach and kind of grungy, it was pristine. And it was a beautiful day on the beach that day. And the man who was to become my husband rolled up on the beach that day and we met that day. Okay. So I didn't know at the time that he would end up being my husband, but we met that day and we exchanged information that day. So peep the logistics. I got on the live. He just tried to call. I'm telling y'all the story about the day we met. We made it. The enemy was trying to keep me from getting to the beach. Truck ran out of gas 3 times. Peep the number 3 times. I knew something was up. I went to the beach. I met him. Okay. Through a series of just internal dialogue with Ja that day, Ja told me to get up. It was about 4 o'clock that day on the beach. Again, the prophet has witnesses. It was about 4 o'clock when Ja was like, you need to get up, drop everything you're doing right now, get your daughter, and drive up to Cape Canaveral National Seashore, that's up the road, and go and pray for those animals up there. Because this whole side right here is going to be getting slammed, and I don't have anybody to go and pray for them. So I got scared, like, what the heck is really happening? Like, again, we're coming out of quarantine, out of COVID. The world is different. The Great Awakening. The prophets was already on hyphy. So this was like a red alert. I'm thinking I'm really in a rapture movie. Okay. I can't even believe I'm telling y'all this story. Okay. I go driving. We go racing up A1A. And I'm like, TT, I feel like we in a rapture movie. Like, this is wild. Like, God really got us out here on this. Like, am I really crazy? And she's like, no, mom, we just got to do it. We got to do it, whatever. She was my real writer through this whole process of this awakening. Okay. That girl's going to be so blessed and highly favored. But somewhere along the ride, I decided that since I was off the next day, that I would just come back and pray for the animals the next day. Somewhere along A1A while it was still light outside, I had that thought. And I'm telling y'all, as God is my witness, I didn't come back to myself until it was nighttime and I was seeing signs for St. Augustine. So because I disobeyed, this was biblical, y'all, okay? Before I finished this 1-year mandate of making these videos, y'all gonna know. Y'all gonna know. Okay? I made up in my mind that I was gonna do it the next day. God put me into a fugue that I don't even know how I was driving. My child was in the car. I don't even know how I was driving or what I was doing. Out for the disobedience, God pretty much was like, look, I can make you black out and have you be somewhere you don't even know. If you want to claim your prophethood, when I tell you to do something, you go do it. This was 2 years ago. So I look at TT. It was 10 o'clock. I'm like, TT, we really got to go do this. And she was like, Mom, I'm so tired. I was like, I was like, you could sleep. I'm gonna drive, but we gotta go do this. God was like, get whatever you want to eat, do whatever. Now I'm thinking God sending us out to the rapture, like beam me up, Scotty. So when I came to myself, there was an Outback on one side of the road and a Panda Express on the other side of the road. Just conveniently, my favorite spot, one of my favorite spots, Outback, TT, one of TT favorite spots, Panda Express. So we hit him up for that ribeye and baked potato and went across the street and hit him up for that walnut shrimp. Because I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but God is obviously serious. I put it in the GPS. We are an hour away. We not gonna get there till 11 something. I was like, TT, just go back to sleep. We gonna do this. We gotta do this. I drove out there. Okay. It's pitch black. Pitch black. And we were so scared because, like, if y'all don't know, Cape Canaveral National Wildlife Refuge is out by Titusville. That's how far off course I was, okay? Which is 45 minutes from Orlando, just to give y'all an example for my people listening in other places. It's dark out there. It's like thousands and thousands of acres of wildlife. So I'm talking about gators could be crossing the road at night, snakes, bears, everything is out there. Okay, everything is out there. So during the day, like you can go and just walk around in the national forest and just be out there. But obviously at nighttime the animals gonna be roaming more free. So we were scared, but we had to do it. So we pull up the truck right to the front gate, and I kind of just slowed down. It was one car driving by, and it's a long, long road because it's nothing but wilderness out there. So it was one car coming, but I just kind of waited till they faded because I didn't want nobody just seeing me just dipping like that for them to try to come, try to see what we doing or try to prey on us. But I'm like, we doing what God sent us to do. So I wasn't really scared, but a gangster gonna keep it a gangster anyway. So I just kind of waited till they faded off, and then we turned in. We turned the truck in. It was right at the front gates, and it was a full moon that day. That's the other thing. It was a full moon that day. That was the night of the full moon. So God was like, just hold hands, just swing out bare feet out on the ground, and just say the Shema. That's the prayer that we say at the top of this program. Say the Shema and just pray and pray for the animals, because there's destruction coming to this whole side and there's no one to pray for them. And we did that, y'all. We prayed, right? Now, there's a lot of magnificent things that happened that night, but and that day, met the husband. Number one, I met the call and interrupt the broadcast. Number one, I met him that day. Um, Number two, realized that God was not playing with me as a prophet. Number three, when we drove out of there, God told me himself that he was pleased with our sacrifice. And the first vehicle that drove out behind us, y'all, was one of those big 18 wheelers with all the pretty, pretty, pretty lights on it. And you know how God was so good to me. He let me know I wasn't crazy. One of the lights, the license plate that he had, the front of the license plate the trucker had was in the shape of the cross. And I looked in my rearview mirror and I was like, God, are you serious? He was like, yeah, they're going to ride you right on out of here. And we hit the highway. But he told me that he was pleased because I proved to him that I love the animals more than I love my life, that I was willing to sacrifice. It's just like Abraham with Isaac to go up the mountain. I was willing to go. I was scared, y'all. And y'all, this Wednesday, when this hurricane hit Daytona, was the 2-year anniversary of me and my husband's marriage. Because we got married That was in August, and we got married in November. We got married November 9th. And November 9th, that hurricane came, and that hurricane I mean, both of the hurricanes that came here this hurricane season, all has but demolished Daytona, that coastline. And y'all don't see, and listen, I'm not one of those people that put animals above people. My heart hurts for everyone, but you don't really hear so much about, the cost to all of God's creatures. So I feel blessed and honored as a prophetess to be even used that day. And I believe that it's my obedience that even gained me my marriage and gained me my testimony, which I don't speak of often. But this hurricane and this smashing of Daytona, really, as a prophet, sometimes when the prophecy comes to bear, it's scary, y'all. It's scary because it's real. And sometimes that burden is so heavy because at the time when you doing the stuff that God tell you to do, people think you crazy. And they tell you that they think you crazy. But God gives the prophet the little confirmation that they need along the way. Y'all might not see it, but we see it, and we on the right track. And then something happens like this that is broad and open, and the prophet can give a report. That's just a warning that the next time the prophet comes to you, don't you dare say the prophet is crazy. Because there's a big, 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 big price to pay for that. And I'm going to leave that right there. But you guys, please pray for me because, again, I am an essential worker. So when this happens, it's a lot of work, a lot of calls, a lot of hours. And I am just trying to hold up under the strain. So I'm going to ask you guys for some grace. I'm going to ask you guys for some grace, and we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programs, right? We got the second part of our syncretism, and you see how successful the enemy just is trying to stomp his foot and do whatever he could do not to have that second part of that lesson come out, and it's almost finished. And then we're picking up our salty Psalms. We're at Psalm 18, if I'm not mistaken. That has 50 verses in it. So I'm going to break that out into 2 lessons, right? So we're going to definitely get back to it, hop, skip, and jump. But I thank y'all for letting me come to y'all tonight in earnest and giving you guys that prophecy, letting y'all know that it's really real out here. And if you are a prophet and God has your ear and you have God's ear, when he tells you to do something, if it looks crazy, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was like, God, like what could really be hitting over here like that we have to go pray for the animals at 11 o'clock at night. Like, if you're going to beam us up, just beam us up. Like, what is happening? But look at Daytona side today. And on the second anniversary of my wedding to that man, to the day, sometimes being a prophet is scary, but it's for God's glory. And again, I know it's 8 million stories. So my heart goes out to those that have a sorrowful story tonight due to the storms. I pray that Yah continues to guide us and bless us and hold us and console us. And with that, I beg y'all to remember that ego's my trip, but humble never stumbles. And let me go before this man really start blowing up my phone. Peace out, y'all. Your girl Soul Maiden is out. 1.